Welcome to The Peak, where becoming your best self is our goal. I'm Ashley Russo. On this week's episode, an organization giving back to those in need of a home, food, and shelter for over 30 years. A heartwarming story of how a premature baby was cared for with passion and delicacy. And the beautiful journey of being foster parents to children in need of a home. All that and more coming up on The Peak. American Hairlines is the premier salon in Bethlehem, and they've been doing my hair and Mike's for years. Let's talk to their team and find out how they best serve their clients.
Hair care, pedicures, manicures, you name it, and American Hairlines has it. Check out this Bethlehem salon, serving up fresh and fabulous looks.
American Hairlines is a full-service salon located on Main Street in Bethlehem. Everybody can come here, and pretty sure you could bring your dog too. American Hairlines is so special because they've been here for over 15 years. They've established really good relationships with people in the community, and they have a great reputation.
The salon physically itself is really beautiful. We have these really amazing windows that bring in all this natural light, and we're really lucky that we have a really beautiful place to work.
I used to always hear about American Hairlines. I'd see the billboards and people would always say it was the it salon to go to and has been here for a very long time.
When I went into beauty school, I just started working here right from there.
We're one of those places you can kind of go to and feel confident that someone's gonna do exactly what you want them to do.
I have to say I pretty much love everything about American Hairlines. I do love everyone that I work with. I love that I have complete control over my schedule and what services that I do. I love that I'm able to create really good relationships with my clients, and my coworkers are like my family.
I love my coworkers and just being so close to everybody here. It's such a tight-knit community. Like, no one will let another person sing.
American Hairlines is a big community, so we all help each other. So if I have a question about color or about a cut, I always feel comfortable asking any single person that's on the floor.
Taking a client that looks in the mirror, doesn't feel super confident, but at the end of the appointment they feel really happy and they feel like they can trust me, I'd say that's probably the most rewarding part.
I started working at American Hairlines because you get to work with people, different people every single day. You get to talk to people every single day. They just kind of become your friends, and you get to learn more about their life and things that are going on. Maybe they get married, maybe they have a kid, maybe they're moving, stuff like that.
Making people feel their best is definitely why I come to work every day. You know, it's why I started this to begin with. Everybody feels better when they leave a salon.
Dave, Drew, and the entire American Hairlines team is here to make you look and feel your best. I'm Katie, and that was a peek at the Valley.
Thanks, Drew and team. You always have me feeling and looking my best. You're ready for my next appointment, right? Up next, let's take a look at how New Bethany has been serving our community for over 30 years and how they plan to expand their reach.
New Bethany was the most significant social ministry program that I was ever involved with.
It's a light no matter how dark things get in our country and our society and that community. There is a light of caring, there's a light of love, there's a light of acceptance.
It really doesn't matter who or where a person is coming from in their life. When they walk through the doors of New Bethany, we definitely see the best of anyone who's coming into our doors.
It's one of the most important things I've done in my life. New Bethany Ministries is a vital community asset and partner. And the folks in Bethlehem in particular and in the Lehigh Valley in general are very lucky to have an organization like New Bethany there.
New Bethany was formed really in response to an ongoing problem, particularly with families who were homeless. And that became the first program that got launched in the renovated New Bethany building.
Coming in and having a meal is very, very important. But if that's all we're going to give them, it's not going to give them the step up that they need. It was always important to me that the people that we serve understood how much they matter to us.
One of the most important things about the entire development and ongoing operation of New Bethany are the number of different people and organizations that come together to support it. New Bethany Ministries would not exist were it not for both the vision and the support that was given by the Episcopal Diocese of Bethlehem.
The most important thing for me there, I think, was to get more people involved. And a big part of that was the first Super Day I was there. It was an opportunity to get a lot more people aware of the work that we were doing at New Bethany.
And so that's the way that we were able to create the 14 single rooms that are in the New Bethany building, and then the drop-in center, and then moved the meal center up the street from First UCC.
I'm most proud of the new food pantry and the community center. And the idea with the new food pantry is to bring the services to the people where they are.
When I came to New Bethany 3 years ago, New Bethany was in a strong position to be able to help the community. So there was nowhere to go but to expand services to be able to meet an increased need, as we very soon discovered at the onset of the coronavirus. Our food pantry has grown by between 25 and 30% the number of people that we serve. We launched a new office, our housing assistance office. That is our biggest response to the pandemic, is to be able to help families stay in their homes during an eviction moratorium, to stay safe, and also be able to pay their rent during that period of time.
It's been amazing to see all the ways New Bethany has improved our community, and their work never stops. Up next, how the St. Luke's team cares for the tiniest of patients. Stay tuned. This is The Peak. The Neonatal Intensive Care Units at St. Luke's Allentown, Bethlehem, and Anderson campuses are designed to provide a high level of care for babies and their families. Take a look at Jennifer's story.
Found out I was pregnant very early. I think I was only about 4 weeks when I found out. So we had about 2 weeks of bliss. And then at 6 weeks, I was at work and I had an extremely heavy bleed and ended up in the emergency room. At 20 weeks, they told me that I was cleared. I was no longer high risk. I was looking good all around. The baby looked good. I was good. Just before Christmas, my family was all here and it was in the middle of the night, and I woke up to a nightmare that I was bleeding heavily, only to find at that point that my water had actually broken.
Little Miss Sophia decided that she wanted to be born terribly early. She was born at 27 weeks. She weighed just under a kilo, which comes out to 2 pounds and 4 ounces. And so looking it up in terms of what, how to make that relevant to people, it's a little bit smaller than an average cantaloupe. A full-term baby is considered 40 weeks. Anything less than 35 weeks is automatically a ticket to admission here.
The NICU is where you really have the most vulnerable people. No parents expect their baby to come here. Just about all of our babies require some form of respiratory support. Most of the time, if they're on pretty significant respiratory support, they can't eat yet, or because they're preterm, they can't eat yet. So they need feeding tubes, they need some sort of intravenous fluid so that they can get their nutrition.
The expectation is that we work together as a team and that the team can provide the best amount of care possible when we do work together rather than each individual trying to work on their own.
I cannot say enough about every single one of them. Number one, for saving my child's life, but they turn into a family, and they make you feel like, yes, they are the professionals, but you matter.
I still remember the first time Matt, Sophia's dad, held her. It was really neat. She's a little peanut, and I could tell he wanted more than anything in the world to hold her, but he was so nervous, and I remember I got her out and he was shaking, and then I put her on his chest, and it was amazing. His face just changed. I think for him, my guess is that's probably one of the moments where he felt like a parent for the first time.
Hi. Where'd Daddy go?
feisty is the perfect word to describe her. I remember them saying that to me all the time, actually in the NICU, and it's funny because I was like, oh really? You know, aren't they all like that? And they're like, well, she's pretty feisty. She has held on to that. I keep saying phenomenal, but that is the word I can use to describe her. I mean, she developmentally has just surpassed every expectation that I have had. She's used that feistiness to her advantage with everything in her day-to-day life.
She went home before her due date, you know, and that's something incredible when you think about everything that child has had to do and overcome and thrive. Nowhere else in the hospital that you are going to be able to take care of a child for this long and send them home to continue to have really the rest of their lives.
You don't know what a NICU entails unless you've lived it. And I'm telling you, when you've lived it, it is life-changing and your life will never be the same. The wonderful thing with St. Luke's NICU, I cannot say enough about every single one of them. Number one, for saving my child's life, but two, just for, they turn into a family.
Joining me today is Dr. Kimberly Costello. She's the Director of Neonatology at St. Luke's University Health Network. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Costello.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Tell us what the NICU offers to babies and their mothers. Why is it a unique and special place to be that really is helpful and necessary for certain babies?
So the NICU, which is the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, is very important to many, many families. So the NICU typically houses premature babies, which are babies born less than 35 weeks, but we also have full-term babies that perhaps have some complications at birth that families are not expecting. It's very important for us at St. Luke's to keep moms and babies together as well as other family members. So we were able to build our Anderson campus, which is now a hybrid unit that has some private rooms and some pod style rooms so that we can have that individual attention to the babies that are most critical, but then we can also integrate them into the general population for more speech and hearing development.
Why is it so important for you and your team to create and provide that compassionate care during these hard times? And how do you approach families when they kind of get this news?
So oftentimes we try to do a prenatal consult if we have any inkling that this might be headed this way. So we want to meet with the families, whether they're in the hospital, whether it's virtually, or whether they come in after one of their prenatal appointments, so that we can give them as much information as possible. We answer all of their questions about the condition that they are expecting their baby to have, whether it's prematurity or another reason. We also talk about the importance of breast milk, and we find out where the family are with their feeding journeys. And we also talk about different visiting policies for other family members. And so we do really value parents, and we feel that they are part of the team. So we want them to come in, we want them to experience everything that is going on and for us to answer all of their questions.
You're mentioning the key to the whole operation, it sounds like, is communication. How important is communication, and what happens behind the scenes that families and parents may want to know that really ends up aiding in their ability to go home and care for their babies in a healthy and productive way?
So communication is probably the most important thing that we do in the NICU. We need to communicate with the nurses, we need to communicate with our ancillary staff, we need to communicate with the families, as well as our obstetricians and MFM doctors.
The last thing I want to ask you is, how does it feel for you to see children who were once in the NICU a little more grown up or progressing well? You know, what is that like for you as a physician?
We are very passionate about the work that we do, and a lot of us don't even feel that it is a job or a career. It's our life's calling. And so, you know, when you are in Costco or something and one of your patients runs up to you and now they're 3 or 4 years old, every single time that happens, it still makes me very teary, because I can remember them back in their bed when they were maybe a pound or less, and how frantic those parents were. And so to see them grow up so healthy is so important. We work very, very hard to make sure that the practices that we are practicing are evidence-based medicine. And so our outcomes are great at St. Luke's, and having these kids grow up is really what it's all about.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Costello, to you and to the entire NICU team at St. Luke's for all that you do to keep babies healthy and to help them live wonderful, thriving lives with their families. We're very happy to have you as a part of St. Luke's and a part of the Lehigh Valley. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. You're watching The Peak. Located in the rolling farmlands of eastern Pennsylvania is Eight Oaks Farm Distillery. Their team provides more than just spirits. They strive to be a good neighbor and a positive force in our community. Listen to a portion of my recent sit-down with founder Chad Butters. Welcome to another episode of Season 4 of Unscripted. I'm Ashley Russo, and I'm being joined today by Chad Butters, the founder and CEO of Eight Oaks Farm Distillery, one of the best places to go in the Lehigh Valley. Chad, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure always. Yeah, for sure.
What you've done for this community is incredible. And I don't know what part I like the most, but I really love the idea that your family decided they wanted to go somewhere to live and be together. And you somehow by a miracle ended up right here in the Lehigh Valley, went up Route 100 and have built this amazing family business from all of that. You've been here now about 14 years? And I know you've got your children are nearby, and now you've got grandchildren. And so what do you guys love about it here?
Yeah, well, certainly, you hit it right on the head. Lately, as of the last 2 years, our granddaughter just turned 2 last week. So the fact that I get to see her pretty much every day is something that I wouldn't change for anything. The area that we live in, I think it's a bit of a hidden jewel. And I think of Allentown as being, believe it or not, it's one of the best Mexican restaurants in the world in Allentown. That's a whole separate thing.
I was going to ask you what your favorite place to eat is in the Lehigh Valley, so feel free to share.
Oh my goodness, it's this little Mexican restaurant. It's on 7th and Linden, I believe. It's just a little corner bodega down there in Allentown, and you would think it's just a little convenience store, but you walk in through the little convenience store part in the back, there's several tables back there, and there is a lovely family that is just putting down. And I used to live in El Paso, Texas, so I've got some street cred on this one. And I will tell you, that's some of the best Mexican food I've ever had. Allentown, of course, has the arena and different things to do. Bethlehem, you get twice the fun because you get north of Bethlehem with history and Moravian College and all of the north downtown area. And the south side, you've got Steel Stacks and Arts Quest and all the things that are going on down there now. So that's fantastic. And Easton is, I don't know that a whole lot of people know it, but Easton's the place for good food. Easton to me is just a very diverse, almost like a miniature New York City in Easton. So I love the fact that each one of those cities has their very own personality. And I really enjoy the fact that around those cities, it's surrounded by, some of the best farmland that's out there. We can't ask for a better place. And the community has been exceptionally welcoming to not only our family, but to our business. So, yeah.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm here 16 years and I'm a transplant, but I consider the Lehigh Valley home. And we're so fortunate in this Lehigh Valley. So thank you for sharing all of that with us, Chad. We're so grateful to have you on the show with us today and sharing your story with everybody out there. So thank you for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us. And we're so grateful to be in the Lehigh Valley. Thanks.
All right, everybody, been listening to Unscripted with Russo. Until next time, and don't forget, please check out Eight Oaks Farm Distillery. You will not regret it. Have a good one. For the full interview, visit youtube.com/theptv. And don't forget to subscribe to Unscripted with Russo on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Chad is such an amazing and inspiring business owner and community member. Up next, how KidsPeace makes the dream of fostering children a reality for families.
We've been married for almost 6 years now.
I'm active duty in the Navy.
And I'm in the Navy Reserves.
I used to joke around and say, we've been trying for so long, but obviously it's not gonna happen. But we always talked about kids, and we thought that fostering would be the best route. I was a foster child, so we just wanted to help out as much as we could.
So we were a little scared to look into fostering and or adopting. We know that other couples have had struggles in the past. In our area, there's not that many options to go to for foster care. So finding KidsPeace was definitely a blessing. So we were looking into foster to adopt, and my friend Lindsay had gone through KidsPeace
and asked, is it okay, because we are gay, if we could foster children, and they had no problem with it.
As a gay couple, it was really nice to have KidsPeace be so supportive of all families. They accommodated us by doing our classes and stuff at night in our house instead of us always having to go up to the office.
It felt like a blessing that we were actually finally going through the steps in order to become foster parents.
KidsPeace guided us through every step of the way. They did it on our time, and that was so super helpful. Today we have 3 kids in our home. One is 7, the other is 21 months, and the other is 10 months. The 2 younger ones are actually brother and sister.
We are actually expanding our home and adding 2 more bedrooms because we're looking to add more foster children into the home. KidsPeace has been very involved with the foster kids. This staff is really helpful, and they also help guide you to become the best foster parents that you could be. One of the caseworkers actually brought one of our foster children a blanket, and that meant so much to him because he does use it every day. KidsPeace was able to make this a reality for us. It is such a humbling experience. What I love about fostering is it brings me joy to know that the kids feel loved and they feel safe.
Seeing families grow is inspirational, and the differences that foster parents can make in the lives of these children is everlasting. I'm Ashley Russo. Thanks for watching. To learn more about anything from today's show, go to our website at thepeaktv.com. And remember, every day is an opportunity to be your best self. This is The Peak. The neonatal, oh God, now I can't say the word. This is The Peak.
This is the real peak.
I feel like the floor was loud, right? Sorry, Dylan. Face hurts. I don't think I have to smile this much anymore in COVID times. Portions of this program were paid for by St. Luke's University Health Network. The Peak TV is a production of ASR Media.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.
To see more of The Peak TV, check out our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and catch us on WFMZ Channel 69.